The Nelson line of semi-displacement hulls really goes back to 1960, when Peter Thornycroft, Commander Peter Thornycroft, came out of the Royal Navy and saw the need for an officer's launch that could take anything that was coming to it. With the yard, he produced the Nelson 34, which became stock equipment for the Royal Navy. On the commercial side, these boats really took off with the pilot boat, the Nelson 40. That transformed the pilot service the world over. Before this, pilots had to stay out on station boats where they slept away from their home and their families, and then they'd putter across the ship in a bit of a tender. But with the Nelson 40, they could sleep at home in their own bed, go down to the pilot station, have a cup of tea, climb on the boat and go out when there was a ship there, because it didn't matter how hard it was blowing. They would get there at 20 knots, no matter what. Pilot boats had always been noted for speed and seaworthiness. With this, they really came of age. And here is the big secret. This knife-like entrance just cuts through the waves. It doesn't know how to slam. It just carves in there and lets the boat do her thing. As you move aft, something different happens altogether. The next part of the secret is this round bilge. Nothing square about this boat like you so often see on powerboats. This round bilge confers sea kindliness, makes the boat comfortable, and it also gives her a bit of displacement, bit of space inside. And the fear always is with a round bilge that the boat will roll if she's got a round bilge, but the story doesn't end there, because the rest of the big secret is down aft. Down aft here, there really is something a bit special. You look under the boat, you can see the skeg. Well, it's obvious what that does. It's very deep actually on this boat, and it protects the propellers, and it also confers directional stability. Very useful feature. But the really clever bit is the shape of the underwater section. There are no trim tabs on this boat, and yet she sits up when she's in semi-planing mode and makes remarkably little wash, and it's all in this aft section here. This was the brilliance of Peter Thornycroft, and it's come through into all subsequent designs. It's flat and it's perfect for the water to flow off and just to give it that little bit of lift for free without any hydraulic assistance. Peter Thornycroft, always a sportsman, did a bit of racing in them in the early days, and he loved it. He did the first Round Britain powerboat race in 1961, and he liked a cigar, did Peter Thornycroft, and his was the only boat with complete all-weather navigation equipment. So when they were going through the Pentland Firth at the top, round by the Orkneys there, dense fog came down and nobody could see where they were going. And actually, at that point, he came powering through the fleet, cigar bent on, puffing out the smoke and moving at a good speed, absolutely safely, towards the next cape. And all the rest of them just fell in behind him, and they navigated on the smell of his cigar smoke. Since the early days, these Nelson boats have been built by various people, in addition to Nelson themselves on the Isle of Wight. They were even built here at Buckler's Hard for a while, and they're building them now at Seaward, at Cowes. But it's all the same boat really, it's the same concept, the same quality and the same seakeeping. It's even the same people. The beauty of these boats is, I can come down here after a nice breakfast at home with my wife, get on board, turn the key, I'm 7 or 8 miles down to the Needles, swing to port at the Needles and away across the channel, 60 miles down to Cherbourg. And you know, I'm there in time to take her for lunch at my favourite restaurant. Nice lunch, cup of coffee on board, read of the paper perhaps, and then set course for home. And she will see us back, no matter what the weather. Guaranteed. I'm a sailing boat seaman. I'm used to deep displacement, heavy sailing boats that are very steady in the water. And it's a great joy for me to get onto one of these boats because really, to be honest, a lot of motorboats in a crosswind blow around like crisp packets, but not these. They are absolutely steady. They really make you feel confident when you're driving along and when you're manoeuvring them at slow speed in a marina. There's enough boat in the water to get a proper grip there. And with the With the twin engines, you can spin them in their own length. They are very, very easy to handle. Very reassuring altogether.